Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me again, another Wednesday of The Mind of Reese. I am your host, Reese Hilburn, of course. So today, I'd like to just get right into it. I'm thinking we're going to talk about, last week I kind of mentioned a topic on social media, preferably Instagram, but social media in general and authenticity. So let's get right into that. As you guys know, I am definitely like a leading educator for how to grow your business on Instagram, and it's preferably through artistry, all my artists, all my creatives out there, but I definitely cater to tattoo artists. And as far as that goes and how we can kind of mix in that authenticity to grow our business. And so it's so funny because, you know, we constantly get so caught up in social media and comparing ourselves, like comparison-itis, and feeling overwhelmed with the amount of content that's out there and the overwhelm of having to produce content and that kind of thing. And what I like to help artists with is basically, I can help you all with the technical side of it all. Like, that's not a big deal. I'm coming up actually with a course for that, like lighting and how to take your photos and that kind of thing, how to like map out your page, how to, basically turn your followers into clientele. But besides that point, and this podcast is basically about the, mindset of yourself and how you can implement that into your life and into your business and to up-level your life and your business, and how I mix them both together through experience and how I've succeeded and really succeeded in that, in knowing that both those things do go hand in hand. You can't just have one or the other. You know what I mean? Like, everybody gets so caught up in this idea that, when I say spirituality, people kind of sometimes roll your eyes. And, and if you're someone that doesn't truly believe in that, I think that you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So I don't think that any of my followers or people that listen here are thinking that way. But there are people out there that are like, oh, I can just manifest anything into my life. And the word manifestation has gotten some sort of stigma on it. But if you look a little deeper into it, you can't. You can't just sit on your ass on your couch and just, hey, universe, I want more money, or I want happiness, or I want this, or I want that. You can say that all day long, but if your energy is not on that same wavelength of those things, you're not going to be attracting it into your life. So if you, and that's where authenticity comes in, and that's where, that's like that spiritual side, or so people quote unquote call it spiritual side. There's actually so much more to it, and we can get into that later. But I want to kind of stick with the topic here, and so why this podcast has been built, and what we're going to talk about today. So mixing spirituality with my business and how I've succeeded in doing both, and creating like a harmony there that really, really helps my business grow. And it's funny because it grows without force. And that's what this is about. Like, when on social media, for instance, and the reason why I go into social media so hard is because we have this conditioning in ourselves to compare ourselves to others, or to compare our life to others. And we all know that social media isn't real. However, we say that, but we still look at it and we still feel these like jealousy issues. I have a cat, if you guys don't know that, so he likes to meow at me. Leave me alone. Not today. Anyway, so we still have these conditioning moments that, even though we already believe that social media isn't real, and these lives aren't real, and filters aren't real, but we still look at it and we still have these like ideas that for some reason we still get a little jealous of it, or for some reason we get a little like, oh, why can't I do that? Or how did they grow that faster? This and that, whatever it is behind it. And so that's actually why I go into the social media route of it, because I've been there. And don't get me wrong, I still go there. I still look at people's pages and I'm like, damn, like that's really amazing. Or, you kind of get like these little tidbit egotistical voices in your mind where you're like, am I that good? Or I'm not as good as them. Or, wow, she's so beautiful. Like I could never look like that, or something like that. You know what I mean? And we get these things. And and so it's just so important to me to help others, not only, get a good look in Instagram, know how to take your photos, your personally and, professionally, know how to take photos of your work, how to light your work, how to take videos of your work, all the technical stuff that goes behind the social media, what's actually on your content, like your actual page. Like your page is, it's like your portfolio. But in order for you to even get to that step, you need to start with who you are as a person, as an artist. You can do all the technical stuff, but if you're not authentic and 100% honest with who you are, then, you're not going to attract the right people that you want to attract. You're not going to attract the clientele that you want to attract. And so, like, when I think about authenticity, yeah, you can have a lot of people out there that do their own thing, but there are a lot of people, out there that utilize authenticity, like their unique brand, and they run away with it. And we all wonder why. Like some of these people have all of these followers and all of these things, and they have such a niche down style. I'm talking about tattoo artists, by the way. You see styles out there, like tattoo styles that are so like their own unique style that you're like, wow. Like, and that's why they have such a huge following, and it's because they're so unique, and because they stay very authentic with themselves. And so, and the way that, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but when I talk about like me trying to be authentic, for instance, I've always been the tattoo artist that was like the turn and burn type. I didn't come into this industry knowing exactly what I was going to be tattooing. When I was drawing, I did a lot of realism, but I didn't want to do hyper realism. I wanted to add like elements of like watercolor or geometry, and I would do that, but I also wanted to make money. And so all I would want to do is just, basically turn and burn, make the money because I wanted to pay my bills and make money doing art. But then I would get bored or quote unquote, burned out. And then I realized, I'm like, well, why am I doing that if it's not making me happy? I'm a talented artist. I know I have a lot of potential. Why do I feel like I'm constantly chasing this other thing that I'm not gaining? And I'm realizing that I'm trying again to search outside of me to, gain momentum and to gain that notoriety that I so craved. And when really all I had to do is, instead of chasing after what I wanted, chasing after the clients that would choose the art that I wanted to tattoo, instead of chasing after the followers, instead of chasing after, the likes or whatever, all I had to do was just turn my perspective around and realize, like, who am I as a person? What do I like to do? Who gives a flying rat's ass about what everybody else likes and what everybody else, what everybody else see. It's funny because we constantly try to think we know what other people are thinking. We don't have a fucking clue. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can see the trend of who likes what, but at the same time, it's like, and I'm not saying that all of these people are like that. A lot of people do get likes and follows because of, following other people that do the same thing. But the people that I definitely know that I resonate with, I know that they are being authentic, and that they are being their authentic selves, and that they are genuine. And I'm like, wow. And so after I started digging deeper as to like, okay, well, I'm chasing after all these things. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting happiness, and I'm not getting the clientele that I want. And, I'm talking, this is, a few years ago, and I'm just like, well, then what do I have to change to make people like me more? Like you say that out loud and you're like, holy shit. Like, and that sounds kind of like a bummer. It sounds sad. And it's one of those things you're like, If I'm going to be honest with myself, that's exactly what I'm searching for. You know, everybody can lie about it and be like, oh, no, I'm just doing it for my business. I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it for that. But, you know, in all actuality, like when people are, it's like, I just want people to like me. Plain and simple. And I'm like, how can I get other people to like me if I don't like me? If I don't even know who I am to like me. Oh, and there we go. So here comes authenticity. Here comes that unique voice that I know that I have. Now, I know I have that unique voice. You have that unique voice. You have a unique voice. Your voice is unlike any other person. There's no two yous. I don't care if you're a twin. It doesn't matter. Your thoughts, the way you do things, the way you showcase your art, the way you draw, the way you tattoo, your technique, your ability to create your design before you tattoo, like that is your unique voice. All of that is. So how do we get to that point? Well, we start from in here. We start from within ourselves. Again, you guys, this is, you know, if you want me to tell you some secret sauce, you want me to tell you some magical pill that you could pop just to like, oh my God, you can make all of your dreams come true. I am not fucking kidding. Anything you want in life, you could figure it out. But you know where it starts? It starts from inside your own fucking head. It starts from inside your heart. It starts from being honest with yourself. It starts from taking 100% responsibility for your own emotions. You know, I could have been the victimizing someone and been like, well, nobody likes me. No, or instead I could be like, well, I'm searching for people to like me. And I'm realizing that might not be the way to go. So how do I work on that? Let's be constructive about it. Let's be the heroine of our own stories. Let's be the hero and heroine of our own story. Let's not victimize ourselves. Let's fucking figure it out. Let's pick up and be like, okay, well, I want to be liked so bad. Well, why is that? Because I don't like myself. Okay, let's figure out how to do that. Okay, so we go within. And we work and we break down barriers and we figure it out. And it doesn't have to be so hard. Like, I know I sometimes can sound a little bit harsh. It's just because I'm so passionate about it. I'm so passionate about people's mindset. And I'm so passionate about people understanding that you are awesome the way you are right now. And you can be the awesome person that you want to get to. All you need to do is find it within yourself to do it. And I'm telling you that once you figure out that authentic truth, your authentic self, and then you put that out there into the world, that is what's going to attract the business, the men, the woman you want of your dreams, the things you want, the money you want. It all is an attraction thing. Now that is true manifestation. When you're on a vibration of just full gratitude. I love me for me right this moment. But I know in my heart that I have so much more to offer, and I want to offer that out into the world. And I will figure out how to do that. You will figure it out. When you receive, and so when you have that in your mind and you have this high gratitude, this high vibration of just being like, I got this. And everybody else has this. And I am unique. And everybody else is unique. When you share that good vibration out, and you believe it about yourself, all you're going to do is receive more of that great shit. And all you're going to do is receive inspired action. And inspired action means that when you're on a vibration that you want to be on, a good high vibration, and you want to get more of that, and you stay open to receiving more of that, somehow in your mind, you will automatically come up with ideas on how to attract that, or how to create that. Create that energy, create that success, that feeling of success. You can create it. It's not something you grab. It's not something that you can just, it could be a tangible thing, but that feeling you receive, that is creatable. You can create that. So when I say that inspired action as a tattoo artist, I'm like, I want to be unique in my voice when I tattoo. I know I have it in me. I know I have the potential in me. And everybody does. You do. You have the potential to do anything you want to do. But as a tattoo artist, I'm like, okay, and I stay open and I stay proud of myself for who I am right now, but being open to the fact that I can be the person that I know that I can be, another step up in the right direction. And I know, like we talked about adversity last week, you know what I mean? Like I have to go head on into these things and take it with open arms and be happy about it. Because the reason why the universe hands us adversity is because they believe it's because she believes that we're ready to go to the next step, to be even better, to be even more, not better, but more. Like, that's the reason why we have adversity. It's not because, oh, woe is me, not again, not another thing. You know what I mean? And when things happen over and over again, it is because you have not learned from your last time that particular event has come up. It's like when, you know, if you're like, oh my God, like, you get mad, like this is like super small, but you get mad at someone on the freeway, they cut you off. That energy, you're already attracting that kind of energy. So someone else is going to cut you off and you're going to be mad at them. You're like, why the fuck is this happening all day long? It's actually because you're attracting it with your energy. So what you got to do when adversity comes to you, or like an issue or a struggle comes to you, you take it with like open arms and you're just like, all right, this is a moment to learn. And this is a struggle, but I know that through my struggles will come my greatest strengths. That's where you got to think about your struggle. You got to be grateful for them. That's the thing. And when you're grateful, you attract more great things. So you will get past that. You'll be proud of yourself for getting past that, because we all got to celebrate our wins. And then you become more, and you become more and more authentic you. And then you could share that more and more outside of you. So when you go through these things and you get the inspired action and you get through the struggle and you get to the other side, and everybody wants to get to the other side, right? Because every time we hear that, we're always like, yeah, the other side, like the grass is greener. It's not. And I don't like that term because it's terrible, because it's great right now. It's wonderful right now. But over there is pretty cool too. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be grateful for each step forward that I want to take. But when you get that inspired action, you will know. Like all of a sudden, especially in my artwork, I was like, I really, really, and I didn't want to force it. I didn't want to like go looking at someone else's artwork and kind of be like them, or go looking at, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, Reese, what do you really, truly love doing? And let's focus on that. And let's not take anything else other than that. We take only the things that we want to do from now on. And I told myself that. And I even said, if I had to get another job, I will, because I will not allow, like, I will always have a backup plan for my art, because art, I don't want to be like, I don't want to feel burned out doing it. That's my love. And so I was like, okay, I got this. You do what you got to do, you do what you got to do to try and showcase your unique self out there. You don't need to copy anybody else. You don't need to have a style that's similar to anybody else. Do what makes you happy. And then once you become authentic with that, and that genuine, style that you have, and then there's everybody's like, oh, well, I do neo-traditional, I do traditional. There are a lot of people out there that do that. Yes, they do. But at the same time, they are so unique in the way that they particularly do it. That's the reason why this person's over this person, or that person's over that, and not over anybody, but just mostly like the following. If we consider following as like notoriety, or as like fame or something, you see people with a lot of following, they must be good at their unique style. And I'm saying you can grow that by being unique. But you can't be unique if you're trying to be like anybody else, or if you're comparing yourself constantly to anybody else. So that's where I'm getting with this. I don't want anybody to get it twisted here. It is imperative for us to grow our following in order to grow our clientele sometimes, because, we have the best platform. Social media is an amazing platform for us to share our unique voice. And so it's wonderful that we can showcase this to so many people out in the world. If it wasn't for social media and it's free, no less. People are getting so upset that we're not getting enough views and likes and stuff. You guys, word of mouth is wonderful, but we've grown so much because of the internet. But we got to realize there's billions of people out there that want to be showcased in some way. sometimes, you just like paid advertisement is marketing. It's not a bad thing. And I don't want anybody to put a bad stigma on people that pay for marketing. It's the way it goes. You guys, like, don't let your ego tell you that I'm not going to pay for an Instagram post because I'm not like that. And I don't want other people to know that I paid for my post and yada, yada, yada. Like, I would rather pay for a post than pay for followers. Like, you guys, come on, let's be real here. We want to be organic. I would rather pay for paid marketing. It's basically like paying for a billboard. How did we used to do things? We paid for a commercial. We paid for a billboard. We paid for to be on the side of a truck. Like, that's how it used to go. Now we have the internet. Now it's free. We literally have so many different platforms that we can go on and freely advertise our own unique voice to get more people, clientele and stuff, and I have heard so many artists even say, they're like, yeah, I really rarely even have to like talk to anybody. Everybody just comes from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever your niche is, I personally say get on all of them. I am on every single thing, everything. But it's not because I feel like I have to be. I don't think you should do anything that doesn't feel authentic to you. Again, authenticity. But for me, I'm a business-driven woman. And I know that. And sometimes, and in that time, I've caught myself being very, very hustling mentality. And I like to consider myself a heart-centered hustler. I know I've coined that term in the past, but it's because I now mix spirituality with my business. Now I do not do anything. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. So period. And if my heart says, then it's a no. I'm such a people pleaser, and I'm such a go-getter, and I'm such a person that's like, yes, 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 I'll do anything, and I'll get my hands into everything. And then I become burnt out. And then I realize I don't even know what I'm doing it for. And I realize I'm like, am I doing this just for myself? And then you go whirl around in your head, when all you really need to do is just realize, hey, let me ask myself some, constructive questions here. Ask myself what I really want to do. Ask myself how I can get there. The how is actually pretty funny, because like, it's just knowing in your heart that you really want to do it, and then realizing all the excuses you give yourself can be wiped away, and then the how will kind of come. So when people are like, I don't have time, well, check your phone to see how long you've been on social media for that week. A lot of times people are like 4 hours a day, and I'm like, holy crap. And that's like average, and for me, as a person that, uses social media for her business and things like that, I try not to make that excuse. I kind of like set it and forget it kind of thing. It's like the infomercials, set it and forget it. So when I post, I don't actually do any of the posting via my Instagram. I have it all on my computer, and I get the post ready, written out, ready. I save all of my posts because like they go to other platforms, like blog posts, and they go, like, captions go everywhere else, including like to my podcast and things like that. So it's like I try to minimize the amount of work I spend, or amount of time I spend on social media, but still able to process it out onto every piece of social media platform that I have, and really realize that like I don't have to be like, I have to spend an hour here, I have to spend an hour there, I have to spend an hour there. I'm actually just recycling my content and putting it in the context of that social media. So when I'm talking about TikTok, yeah, it's for young people, but then I'll go on there and talk about tattooing or show my tattoo showcase or just get funny with the kids. And then all of a sudden these people are going from my TikTok to my Instagram and seeing my actual work, what I'm very passionate about, because Instagram's platform is very based on like, the visualization, the really like, you love the beautiful photos and things like that. And then, and I, as far as Instagram goes, like I definitely take pride and time in creating good content because it's important to me and because it's important to my business. And as a tattoo artist, I hope it's important to yours as well, because we can't just, these days, you could post a tattoo But if it's not good quality tattoo, everybody's just going to look at the fact that it's not a good quality photo. Not a good quality tattoo, good quality photo. Then people are going to notice that. They're not even going to look at your work. And when you realize, like, a little tip here for any artist friends, you guys, we need to back up. You can take close-up photos, but we want to see what is visually appealing. And this goes statistically saying that, it takes 3 seconds for someone to look at your page and to decide whether or not they want to follow you. So good quality content is a must. But in order to have the good quality content, the good quality feed, or the good quality captions, it all has to come from within you. The authenticity is so key, you guys. You could chase after anybody you want, but to attract your tribe and to attract the clientele that you want to get from social media platforms, you have to be you. And you got to figure that out. You got to figure out who you are. It's so important because not only will it help you in your business, help you in your family, help you in making more money. Gosh, it'll help you in life. It'll help you just in dealing with people. It's so interesting how it's not a little thing, but this one thing, this mindset, our minds are realizing like how important our minds are. If we worked out our minds as much as some of us worry about our bodies or worry about our insecurities, we realize that we wouldn't have those things. I mean, we still would, but at least it's manageable and we can figure out how to manage the voices in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, or that tells us that we have to compare ourselves to this other person on social media, or I'll never look like this person, or this person's way too beautiful. That's the reason why she has what she has, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's neither here nor there. It's about you, and you should focus on you. I'm giving you the permission to focus on you. It's important. It's really important. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I had a really hard time focusing on me. I was so, and I mean in a way that's constructive, because in order for me to really, I don't know, this is really epic, but I always think of it this way. It's like, in order for me to really like change the world, I guess I could say, I had to start with me first. And that's so cliche, but it's so true. Ever since I started this podcast, it was only this is the 4th episode. I can't even tell you how just humbled I am by the amount of people that have reached out to me all over the world, telling me, oh my gosh, I really needed to hear that. And I couldn't be here doing this thing if I didn't get authentic or genuine with myself. It just wouldn't come off right. It just wouldn't feel right. You feel authenticity. You know it when it's real. When the moment when you're like, I don't know how I feel. That vibe was weird. That's an instinctual thing, and your instincts are normally right. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the reasons why we assume or make judgment calls is because there's something within ourselves that we're insecure about, that we project onto other people. Like when I say, let's say, you have a bad experience with a relationship, for instance, and you were cheated on, and now every time you hear a woman or a man speak, you're like, are they being honest? See, that's not fair. That's taking something from your past and your insecurities and projecting it on someone else. I mean, and that's an ego thing. So that's where the fine line really starts, is like how to know where your ego starts and where your intuition starts. Now, that's a whole nother game, and I'll talk about that later if you guys would like, but I'll definitely leave that in another episode because it's a really, really long topic. But yeah, so that's what I mean by knowing. When people are authentic. You know it. You feel it. You resonate with those people. That's your tribe. When you feel authenticity coming off of someone, you're like, yeah, I like that person. I want to be around that person more. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's like, if you feel exhausted when you're around people, ever think about that maybe you're not being authentic? Because you're like, oh my God, It's like when you go out and network all day long, especially in a setting where you just know that, you know, sometimes like I'll go to tattoo conventions and we are all walks of life. You know, I love artists. It's so funny. I feel like artists are definitely a little bit more heart-centered than, I don't want to say that, than a lot of people, but when you think about artists, you hear it all the time that we're very emotional, we're very open, like with our emotions. Like we definitely allow ourselves to kind of let the emotion be free and let it go and that kind of thing. It's because, you know, we allow that to kind of come out into our art. So I know that everybody kind of resonates with me on this because they feel it, but they just don't know what it is yet. So like being at a tattoo convention, you know, you feel like you're networking all the time and, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You feel like you're networking at a tattoo convention. We're all walks of life, like I said. So what we tend to do is that, like, what gets exhausting is that when you're around people that are in the same industry, but doesn't mean that we're all in the same mindset. So, you know, you kind of sometimes get exhausted with just like sometimes, and not all the time. I'm a naturally happy person. I'm a naturally positive energy kind of person. And I've been that way since growing up. I've always been, but at the time I would hide behind the smile because I was insecure. So I just smile bigger when I felt uncomfortable. But nowadays I've actually honed that in, and now I realize it's a very big superpower of mine that I do have a natural tendency to think optimistically. Which is really, really awesome. But the only way I was able to really get that superpower honed in was practice and mindset. So I'm not getting it twisted. It doesn't just happen naturally. You can have like a high hyperness. Like I have high energy all the time, but that could be high energy anywhere. There's a lot of people with high energy that are negative and you're just like, yikes, like I don't want to be around that person. So, and that's what I'm saying is actually, tattoo artists, we have such high emotional energy that sometimes it could be really draining, and then you're just really, really drained at the end of a conversation with someone, or at the end of a conversation with a group, or at the end of a dinner with a group of people, of artists, because you're just like, holy moly, they were not my vibe. I didn't feel authentic in that because I felt like I was just having to force myself to be happy in that kind of thing, or to, you know what I mean? Or, you know, I feel like that's where exhaustion kind of comes from sometimes. I'm not saying that's all the time. You definitely can work on it. Like I've used it as like a skill to understand, like, okay, this is where I kind of put a little bit of like, sacred space. You know, it's okay to have to protect your energy, and I truly believe that, and it's hard to, trust me. So you got to cultivate that a bit. But when you're around like a big group of people that are super like-minded, like for instance, I went to just recently, I think 2 months ago, I went to a James Wedmore, and I don't know if you guys know this, or know who James Wedmore is. He's definitely a mentor of mine, and just an amazing mindset man and a businessman. And so, and just the people that he attracts, all mindset, all kind of spiritual people that have this like optimistic outlook on life, on how they believe that they can build their business and how we can implement spirituality into your business. And so when you're around these people, that energy, that it's so much. And I just spent 3 days with these people. And even though I was exhausted at the end, I was like, happy exhausted. I was like, wow. You know, when you're around like your tribe, or you're being your authentic you and taking the steps to be your authentic you, and then finding yourself in situations where there's other people that resonate with that authentic person that you are, then you're like, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother world out there. So that's why I'm so obsessive with this step in the direction of authenticity, because I'm telling you, it's such an eye-opener when you really get down to the nitty-gritty and really, really work on yourself, and really take the time to believe that a lot of people believe that there's more to life. Well, there is, because it's within you. You can figure that out, and it's such a wonderful place to be in. And so, again, I know I've been ranting on it. I know I've lost my train of thought a lot on this one, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. And I don't want to spend or take up any more of anyone's time, but I definitely want you guys I encourage you and I challenge you to really think about that, to really think about authenticity, and to think about if you're being authentic, and maybe if you aren't, really just dig deep and think about, okay, why are you doing the things that you do? And getting down to, and honestly, so authenticity comes from self-love. It comes from self-care. It's being understanding of where you are and being compassionate and not beating yourself up about it, but willing to be open to moving forward with who you are right now, with loving who you are right now, but realizing you're like, I want to be on this level. And it's okay to have like idols or people that you look up to, but don't let that harm your mind at the end of the day. Don't let that be the thing where you're like, oh, well, like brings you down. Like if it's an idol, let them bring you up. Let them inspire you to be more authentically you. Always. So, guys, like, I hope you have a really, really, really great Wednesday. If you're listening to this on the Wednesday, I definitely post these podcasts every Wednesday. I feel like I'm getting better at them. But please leave me your comments, your likes, follow button. Please press on it all. I am on Spotify. I am on Apple. I am on YouTube. You can find my podcast anywhere on there. On YouTube, you find it at Art of Reese, and Spotify and Apple Music, you can find me at The Mind of Reese, because that's what the podcast is called, The Mind of Reese. But you can look up either one, and you'll be able to find it on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music. And guys, and if you screenshot it, post it to your stories, I repost everything. And if you guys just want to have a chat, send me a DM, send me a message, email me. I would love to hear your thoughts, anything that you're going through. I get back to everybody. I'm serious about this because this is so important to me. I want you to know that I've got your back. I do. I truly, truly do. So you guys have a great, great, great rest of your week, hump day. And I will see you guys next week on The Mind of Reese. Bye.